You're perfect.
Dad.
I mean, that was perfect.
Yeah, I'm Mark Falls. My wife and I started a company called Superlux. That's where we are. We started it back in the 90s as a catch-all for freelance design work. And when I decided to do it full-time, that was 2001. I'd worked as a creative director in a couple of post houses, Crawford here, and also National Video Center from New York wanted to open an Atlanta office, and that was called Aux TV, so I was there. They kind of got caught up in the dot-com crash, and that office closed, and that's the point that we decided, well, let's just do this. I went from having a job on Friday to not having one on Monday. I think we got 2 weeks severance pay or something. So we had the time to think about it. It's like, do I want to go to work in another post house? Do I want to try to work at Turner? What do I want to do? Well, having worked in motion design and post for 7 or 8 years in town, we knew a number of people that were in the business. And my gut feeling was, really, I'd rather just set up our own shop, work with some people we know, and see if we can make it work. Yeah, business just got, a job at a time. Business would happen, and then we'd get busy and need freelancers, and then after a few years, our house is full of freelancers all the time. So time to move somewhere else. We've been here ever since. Initially, when the company was just Lauren and me, it was sort of based on my illustrative style that had been developed, over 20 years of being a print illustrator in New York and Miami and then back here in Atlanta. Because I grew up, I guess, in the 60s and 70s, there's a big hefty dose of sort of mid-century and early pop graphics in what I do. So that was the genesis of it. But as we get more people here and talented people who are much younger than me, it starts to take on the flavor of their experiences and their influences. Although it still kind of maintains a simple and, classic design aesthetic, a lot of the references you see are more contemporary, things that I would never think of, but I love the way these guys are interpreting it. What we do here is we write videos and conceive of promotional campaigns. So we do sort of the writing and initial creative process for all the work we do, and then we turn that into some kind of a moving picture. It's either going to be a promo for on air, it's going to be a film to help a brand sell something, but we're doing that process of creating an aesthetic and telling a story and using motion to do it. And sometimes we shoot for our paying gigs. So the skill sets is all kind of already being developed. We've been hearing about this 48-hour film project and thought, well, let's just do one this summer and see what it's like. So that's what caused us to do the first one. They assign you a genre, that's a lot of fun. In the work we do, we always have sort of a brief from a client. There are some givens, and there's a deadline, and 48-hour film project has a lot of that stuff, a lot of those components. You got a brutal deadline, and you're provided with a genre and some required elements that have to be in the thing. You draw out of a hat, and we chose science fiction, which I wasn't that prepared for. You get to do a lot of pre-pro before you find out what you're going to do and before the clock starts running. So we'd already done casting, and we had done location work. We knew we were going to shoot in downtown Chamblee, which is kind of, it looks like not Victorian era, but it's pretty old school looking. It would have been great for Western. I think especially if you're making a film that has so many unknowns, the one thing you really want to have is a good cast, because they're the ingredients in the meal. Somebody tells you to cook an Indian meal, well, if you got some good ingredients, you can probably fake it. If they tell you to make a French meal, you can fake that too. But if you don't have the ingredients, I don't know what you're going to do. So we felt good about the cast. We actually had too many good, talented actors to work with. So you kind of know who the crew is, and a lot of time they're friends or people you've worked with, and you kind of know what they're good at and what they like to do. You know, you can't write anything according to the rules before the contest begins or the project begins. You can talk about what you like, what kind of stories you like, and what kind of visual storytelling you like to do, and so we would always do that with the crew. And you know, having good wardrobe people lined up that can improvise, and a props person, and always the holy grail is an audio engineer. For some reason, they're the hardest thing to find to work on a Saturday like that. So the strategy is to kind of have an aesthetic idea or a range of aesthetic ideas that you would like to work in, have people on board with that who think they can do it and want to do it, and you take their input to determine this stuff, and trust your talent, the actors. I mean, that's kind of all you can do. Oh, locations too, and you try to find a good location. Something's going to look good on camera. After the starting gun goes off, you start to write, and we wrote with our friend Tom Rittenhouse till 2 in the morning. We had about 30 concepts, and we just had to make a decision, you know, because we were going to start shooting at 8 in the morning. Maybe it's 7 o'clock call time. Had to make a decision because we had to take one of these ideas and turn it into dialogue. Tom had come up with a great story idea about a sort of a father-son, kind of a Pinocchio-esque thing that would work within a sci-fi context, and that's the one we made.
Want to hear it, Daddy? Please?
Why don't you try again?
Jackie Lewis, born September 8th, 1979. 9-time Gold Glove winner. 6-time MVP. Career? .357. Never once caught stealing.
You're perfect.
Dad,
I mean, that was perfect.
can I hear it again? Daddy.
All right.
Hey, sweetie. Sorry we've been playing phone tag all day. Anyway, I can't wait to see you and our little birthday boy. Can you believe he's already 10? Does that mean we're getting old? I don't want to be old yet. I've got too much to do. I still have to see the Grand Canyon and live in Paris and, I don't know, ride a bull. Oh, okay, I'm rambling. What's new? I'm hanging up now. I love you. I just love you. Okay, bye.
She sounds happy.
She was happy. She was always happy. She had the gift of making everybody happy.
Can you tell me the story?
She was a great hostess. Come to think of it, I think we have friends over almost
I think
every
I made
evening.
too much, so you guys are gonna have to drink it all.
Thank you so much.
When did the destruction happen?
Not long after that, there were storms on the sun. People got sick. Animals too.
You're okay.
I better be. I've got a hot date tomorrow, you know?
You'll be radiant.
Mommy was the strongest, bravest person I know.
Even stronger than Jackie Lewis?
Yep, stronger than 10 Jackies.
Whoa.
Yeah, pretty strong, right?
Well then, what happened to her?
Well, sick people, sick animals, the crops all died. And, wasn't enough food to go around.
Stop her! Get back here!
Some people started to not be very nice.
Were they mean?
Yes, they were very mean.
Do you miss her?
Very much.
Me too.
I know.
But at least you don't have to miss me.
Right. You know, you're right.
No! No! My boy! My son! My baby! No! No! My baby! No!
Daddy? I'm glad you're my daddy.
I'm glad I'm your daddy too.
I love you.
I love you too. Wake up. Stop playing. Wake up, come on. Wake up. Not again.
Want me to do it, Daddy? Please?
Why don't you try again?
Jackie Lewis, born September 8th, 1979. 9-time Gold Glove winner, 6-time MVP. Career? .357 hitter. Never once caught stealing.
The last one, we drew the dreaded musical or Western genre. Now, I don't know why anyone would ever pick musical. Talk about an impossible assignment. You don't just have to make a film in 48 hours. You got to write a bunch of songs and film that and get people to perform it, and just incredibly outrageous. Most of us, though, choose Western, and that's what we did. And we had some great locations for that. We had actually the ideal location for that. We had scouted a 1880s farmhouse with a horse farm around it in Dunwoody. It's actually owned by the city, I think, and managed by the Dunwoody Preservation something or other. So we were able to shoot there, and our DP, Scott Auerbach's friend's mother had an amazing workshop location that he'd always wanted to shoot in. So we went there and shot part of the film there. We shot in the morning at the horse farm, and then we went to the workshop and shot for half the day, and then we returned to the horse farm a little bit too late to get much good footage because we were losing sun at that point. The writing process, we brought in a couple of friends, Mickey DeBrow and Jessica Handler, who were, producers and writers as well. So again, we worked late into the night, and Western genre is a little challenging. But we all decided we kind of like the more modern Westerns, and the first modern Western, maybe the greatest modern Western, was The Searchers by John Ford. So we kind of just borrowed that storyline and inverted it. You couldn't do that story today, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. But it's basically someone who's been lost to something and someone has to go get them back. We decided what these people were, what our character was going to be. Lost to was more of an inner demon, a personal conflict kind of thing. They weren't really absent physically, but they needed rescue. So that was our story for that one. And we did a pretty faithful homage to the bicycle scene from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid as well. That was fun.
Playing or not? Sorry. Yeah.
Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
How did you find me?
We've been searching everywhere for you.
Damn, Ethan. Been holding out on us.
Hey, baby. I like your peaches.
I can't imagine what you've been through.
No, Debbie, you can't.
We're here to help you. We know war is hell. We understand that you must be hurting.
War is hell. Where'd you get that? Comic book?
We want you back in our lives, Ethan. Where did you get these?
From my good friend, Dr. Oliver Sandman. He brings me good dreams. Didn't even have to go to med school.
Ethan, when you went to Iraq, we didn't hear a single thing from you. Not a letter, an email, a Skype, nothing. And you even lost contact with your mother.
You have no idea what you're talking about. I'm not the same man that I was when we were whatever we were.
You're still our old Ethan. We want you to come back with us.
Don't listen to her, partner. They're trying to get you outside the wire. You two are trying to trick me.
Ethan, you remember when we used to ride all day under the open sky? you remember? At some point, we had to go back to the homestead, didn't we?
She sure paints a pretty picture.
Collect your things. We're gonna take you home.
Come on.
I am home, Lori. I am with my brothers.
Tell her, Ethan.
Damn it, Doc. The spider hole's cramping me. I may mosey on home myself.
Lars, we said we'd stick together.
Hey,
Ethan,
Lars.
come on. Ethan, I mean, what?
Stop!
Just have to listen to us, just this once. Ethan?
You never leave a man behind.
Look, we're not leaving you here, okay?
Ethan. I'm gonna tell you a secret. I'm not here.
Come on.
Lauren and I have been working on, it's really her project. She has been working on this and I've been helping out a little documentary for probably 15 years. And it's a really kind of a big untold story. It's a World War II scenario. The US Air Force had bases in China during World War II. This isn't, generally well known in the sort of general knowledge of World War II history. Everybody's heard of the Flying Tigers, but the Flying Tigers were a volunteer organization that operated in China before Pearl Harbor. We weren't at war with Japan, but the Flying Tigers were sort of a paramilitary force working through President Roosevelt's direction with the Chinese. They were led by an incredibly brilliant tactician named Claire Lee Chenault. A bit of a renegade, very original thinker, especially in aeronautical tactics. He'd figured out ways for them to defeat superior aircraft using smarter tactics. And that's why the Flying Tigers were successful and not a disaster. The reason we got involved with all this was because Lauren's father was a bomber pilot for Chennault in the 14th Air Force. And he died pretty young. He was in his 50s, and he had 3 girls, and he was kind of a man's man. So he didn't spend a lot of time talking to the girls. When he died, they all kind of, wished they'd known him better. About 20 years after he died, Lauren's mother gets a letter from her dad's radio operator. It was so intriguing, and the guy was so eloquent, that she sort of struck up a friendship with him. And then when she found out a lot more about her dad's unit and about the guys in it and about Joe Batten, the radio operator, she said, well, I've got to make a documentary on this. At the time, they were pretty active, and they had conventions every year, and she could easily interview a lot of these guys. And I went to some of them, and they would be in their late 80s and just so articulate and sharp. I know we did over 50 interviews. It may be as many as 100. 70 is probably a pretty good estimate for how many interviews. And it wasn't just pilots and crewmen, it was people that worked in support on the bases. She interviewed some guerrilla fighters that were out in Burma with local tribesmen, training them and doing raids with them. Medical people, nurses. One guy who was like a kid, he was an orphan and just kind of hung around as a sidekick when he was a kid. Just a lot of fascinating characters. I don't know if aviators attract people that are especially sharp and articulate, or if the experiences they had made them that way, but I've known people that age, a lot of them, and that group really stood out for being with it and having a lot to say.
Nobody was there, and nobody expected us.
And I was scared to death. When I got in the village, I looked up on one of the huts and saw about 20 skulls.
The story is finally kind of getting itself together, and I think we're about ready to make a final push into editorial and finish the thing. If anyone would like to get a hold of us regarding the documentary Chasing Tigers, ahead of our Indiegogo campaign, just visit superlux.com/contacts.
Party foul.
You know that is not what I said.